Boredom is a complex enthusiastic state characterized by a sense of disappointment, eagerness, and a need of engagement with one's current exercises or environment. From a mental point of view, boredom can be caught on through a few key points. Boredom, as caught on from a cognitive point of view, emerges when there is a bungle between an individual's require for incitement and the accessible boosts. This state of disappointment ordinarily happens when errands or exercises fall flat to lock in a person's mental resources, either by being as well simple and not challenging sufficient or by being excessively troublesome and hence overpowering. This wonder is not simply a straightforward state of inertia or a need of things to do but or maybe a complex enthusiastic and cognitive involvement that can have critical suggestions for an individual's mental well-being and generally well-being. To dive more profound into the cognitive underpinnings of boredom, it's basic to get at how the brain forms data and looks for incitement. The human brain is inalienably wired to look for modern and locks in encounters. This drive for oddity and incitement is established in our developmental history, where investigating unused situations and learning modern abilities were pivotal for survival. When the brain is denied of satisfactory incitement, it reacts by producing sentiments of boredom, which serves as a flag that one needs to look for unused exercises or challenges. The cognitive point of view on boredom can be explained by looking at the concept of stream, presented by analyst Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Stream is a state of profound drenching and engagement in a movement, wherein person is completely ingested and loses track of time. This state is regularly accomplished when there is a culminate just between the challenge displayed by the assignment and the individual's aptitude level. When the assignment is as well simple, it leads to understimulation and boredom, whereas an errand that is as well troublesome can lead to uneasiness and disappointment. In this manner, boredom regularly happens when there is a deviation from this ideal state of flow. Cognitive hypotheses of boredom moreover emphasize the part of consideration and cognitive assets. Consideration is a limited asset, and how it is distributed can essentially affect one's involvement of boredom. When an assignment does not require much cognitive exertion, it takes off an excess of consideration that is not being utilized, driving to sentiments of fretfulness and boredom. Then again, when an assignment is as well requesting and devours all accessible cognitive assets, it can result in cognitive overburden and separation, contributing to boredom. In this manner, boredom can be seen as a result of wasteful assignment of cognitive assets, where either as well much or as well small consideration is required. Another vital angle of the cognitive viewpoint on boredom is the part of desires and seen meaning. When people lock in exercises that they see as important and adjusted with their objectives and values, they are more likely to be locked in and less inclined to boredom. On the other hand, exercises that are seen as futile or misaligned with one's individual objectives are more likely to actuate boredom. This highlights the subjective nature of boredom, where the same action can be locks in for one individual and boring for another, depending on their individual desires and perceptions. The cognitive point of view too sheds light on the worldly viewpoint of boredom. Boredom regularly emerges when there is a jumble between the anticipated length of a movement and the genuine time it takes to total it. For occurrence, an assignment that is seen as taking as well long can lead to anxiety and boredom, whereas an errand that is completed as well rapidly can take off in person with overabundance time and nothing to do, moreover coming about in boredom. This worldly bungle can be especially articulated in present-day society, where people are regularly acclimated to fast-paced and continually changing jolts, making slower or dreary assignments more likely to initiate boredom. In expansion to these cognitive variables, boredom is moreover affected by person contrasts in identity characteristics and cognitive styles. A few people are more inclined to boredom due to their higher require for oddity and incitement. These people, regularly alluded to as sensation searchers, require more strongly and shifted encounters to keep up engagement and are more likely to encounter boredom in ordinary or monotonous circumstances. On the other hand, people with lower sensation-seeking inclinations may be more substance with less invigorating exercises and less inclined to boredom. Cognitive styles, such as an individual's inclination for organized versus unstructured assignments, can too impact their vulnerability to boredom. Those who favor organized errands may discover unstructured or vague exercises more boring, whereas those who flourish on inventiveness and adaptability may discover profoundly organized errands monotonous. The effect of boredom on mental well-being and well-being is another basic range of investigation inside the cognitive point of view. Unremitting boredom, or boredom inclination, has been connected to different negative results, counting sadness, uneasiness, and substance mishandle. This is since boredom regularly leads people to look for out-elective shapes of incitement, which can in some cases include unsafe or maladaptive behaviors. For occurrence, people who as often as possible involvement boredom may be more likely to lock in substance utilize as it implies of easing their inconvenience. Besides, inveterate boredom can disintegrate inspiration and lead to a common sense of unresponsiveness and withdrawal from life, contributing to sentiments of sadness and anxiety. From a cognitive behavioral point of view, mediations to address boredom frequently center on upgrading engagement and finding ways to make exercises more invigorating. This can include setting particular objectives, breaking errands into littler, more sensible parts, and finding ways to infuse assortment and oddity into schedule exercises. Cognitive rebuilding methods can moreover be utilized to offer assistance people reframe their recognitions of assignments and discover unused meaning or reason in them. For occurrence, a person who finds their work repetitive might be empowered to center on the broader effect of their work and how it contributes to their individual and proficient goals. Educational settings give a especially significant setting for looking at the cognitive viewpoint on boredom. Understudies regularly report feeling bored in school, which can adversely affect their scholarly execution and by and large state of mind towards learning. Cognitive hypotheses of boredom in instruction emphasize the significance of suitably challenging and locks in understudies to avoid boredom. This includes fitting directions, strategies, and materials to coordinate students' aptitude levels and interface, giving openings for dynamic and experiential learning, and cultivating a steady and fortifying classroom environment. Instructors can moreover play a significant part in making a difference. Understudies create self-regulation abilities and methodologies for overseeing boredom, such as setting individual objectives, looking for out and used challenges, and finding ways to make learning more pleasant and significant. Mechanical progressions and the rise of advanced media have moreover essentially affected the involvement of boredom from a cognitive point of view. On one hand, innovation gives an endless cluster of boosts and openings for engagement, possibly decreasing the probability of boredom. On the other hand, the steady accessibility of computerized diversions can contribute to a shorter consideration span and a diminished resistance for less fortifying exercises. This confusing relationship between innovation and boredom highlights the significance of finding a just between looking for incitement and creating the capacity to lock in with and appreciate less instantly satisfying activities. The cognitive viewpoint on boredom too meets with neurobiological inquire about, which investigates the brain component's fundamental boredom. Neuroimaging considers have recognized particular brain districts related with the involvement of boredom, counting the default mode or range, DMN, which is dynamic amid detached, resting states and mind wandering. When people are bored, there is expanded action in the DMN, showing a move towards inside, self-referential thought forms. This adjusts with the cognitive hypothesis that boredom emerges from a need of outside incitement, inciting people to turn internal and reflect on their contemplations and feelings. The neurotransmitter dopamine plays a noteworthy part in the involvement of boredom. Dopamine is included in the brain's remunerate framework and is related with inspiration and the interest of fulfilling exercises. When dopamine levels are moo, people are less likely to discover exercises fulfilling and may involvement boredom as a result. This neurobiological viewpoint gives extra knowledge into the cognitive instruments of boredom and proposes potential roads for intercession, such as procedures to upgrade dopamine discharge and increment motivation. Boredom, seen as an emotional state, is closely related with an extent of negative feelings. When people involvement boredom, they frequently experience sentiments of disappointment, crabbiness, and an overpowering want for alter or oddity. This passionate measurement of boredom highlights its effect on an individual's temperament and generally enthusiastic well-being, making it a noteworthy figure in understanding human behavior and mental health. To get at the emotional nature of boredom, it is basic to investigate its passionate components and how they show in different settings. Boredom is not just a non-attendance of action but an passionate state characterized by disappointment and a sense of neglected needs. When individuals are bored, they regularly feel a need of engagement or intrigued in their current circumstance, which can lead to a cascade of negative emotions. One of the essential feelings related with boredom is dissatisfaction. When a person is bored, there is a sense of being stuck in a circumstance that is unfulfilling or dull. This can lead to disappointment as the individual hooks with the failure to discover quick satisfaction or important engagement. The disappointment stems from the disparity between the want for invigorating and fulfilling encounters and the reality of the current environment or movement. This enthusiastic reaction is especially articulated when people feel that they have small control over their circumstance, such as being in a gloomy assembly, holding up in a long line, or stuck in traffic. Irritability is another common passionate reaction to boredom. When bored, people may gotten to be effectively irritated or unsettled by minor bothers or disturbances. This increased crabbiness can strain social intelligence and connections, as the bored person may react more adversely to others or show a lower resistance for intrusions. The crabbiness related with boredom can be seen as a reflection of the fundamental anxiety and inconvenience that goes with this emotional state. It is a flag that the individual's enthusiastic harmony has been disturbed, driving to an increased affectability to outside stimuli. The crave for alter or oddity is a trademark of boredom as in full of feeling state. When encountering boredom, people regularly pine for modern and fortifying encounters to elude the dullness of their current circumstance. This crave for oddity is driven by the brain's compensate framework, which is actuated by modern and locks and boosts. The look for oddity can show in different ways, from looking for out modern pastimes or exercises to locks in hazardous or rash behaviors. This longing for alter highlights the energetic nature of boredom and its part as a motivational constraint that pushes people to look for out modern encounters and challenges. From an full of feeling point of view, boredom can too be connected to sentiments of forlornness and separation. When people are bored, they may feel detached from others and encounter a sense of estrangement. This enthusiastic state can be especially articulated in circumstances where social interaction is restricted, such as amid periods of separation or isolate. The depression related with boredom can compound negative feelings and contribute to a descending winding of temperament and motivation. The full of feeling effect of boredom expands past prompt passionate reactions to impact long-term mental well-being and well-being. Unremitting boredom, or boredom inclination, has been connected to different mental issues, counting sadness, uneasiness, and substance mishandle. The tireless negative feelings related with boredom can dissolve an individual's sense of reason and fulfillment, driving to a common sense of unresponsiveness and separation from life. This highlights the significance of tending to boredom not as it were as a transitory state but as a potential hazard calculate for more genuine mental well-being concerns. From a mental angle, understanding the full of feeling measurements of boredom can advise intercessions pointed at moderating its negative effect. Procedures to address boredom frequently center on upgrading enthusiastic engagement and finding ways to infuse assortment and oddity into day-by-day life. This can include setting individual objectives, investigating modern interface, and looking for out social associations. Mindfulness and cognitive behavioral procedures can too be utilized to offer assistance people oversee their passionate reactions to boredom and reframe their discernments of repetitive tasks. In instructive and word-related settings, tending to the emotional viewpoints of boredom is vital for advancing engagement and efficiency. In schools, instructors can cultivate an invigorating learning environment by consolidating differing directions, strategies, and giving openings for dynamic and experiential learning. In the work environment, bosses can upgrade work fulfillment and diminish boredom by advertising changed assignments, openings for proficient advancement, and a strong work culture. Recognizing and tending to the enthusiastic affect of boredom in these settings can lead to progressed execution, assurance, and in general well-being. The part of innovation in the involvement of boredom is too noteworthy from an full of feeling viewpoint. Whereas computerized media and gadgets offer unending sources of amusement and incitement, they can moreover contribute to an increased affectability to boredom. The steady accessibility of advanced diversions can decrease individuals' resilience for less fortifying exercises and increment the probability of encountering boredom in the non-appearance of prompt delight. This highlights the require for an adjusted approach to innovation utilize, where people can appreciate the benefits of computerized engagement whereas to creating the capacity to appreciate and lock in with slower, more pensive activities. Neurobiological Investigate gives advanced bits of knowledge into the full of feeling nature of boredom by investigating the brain instruments basic this passionate state. Considers have appeared that boredom is related with diminished action in the brain's compensate centers, especially the striatum and prefrontal cortex. This decreased neural movement reflects the need of fulfilling and invigorating encounters that characterize boredom. Moreover, the neurotransmitter dopamine, which plays a key part in inspiration and joy, is too ensnared in the involvement of boredom. Levels of dopamine can contribute to the negative feelings related with boredom, as the brain's remunerate framework is not adequately activated. Boredom, from a motivational viewpoint, acts as an effective driving constraint that compels people to look for modern encounters and challenges. This motivational angle of boredom is principal to understanding human behavior, as it highlights how the inconvenience related with boredom can lead to positive changes and development. By inciting people to investigate modern exercises or thoughts, boredom can serve as a catalyst for imagination, advancement, and individual development. At its center, boredom is an enthusiastic state characterized by a need of intrigue or engagement in the current circumstance. This need of incitement makes a sense of distress that people normally look for to ease. From a motivational angle, boredom acts as a flag that one's current environment or exercises are not satisfying, inciting a look for more invigorating and fulfilling encounters. This drive to elude boredom can lead to a wide extent of behaviors, from looking for out modern side interests and interface to making noteworthy life changes. One of the essential ways boredom persuades people is by cultivating interest and investigation. When individuals are bored, they are more likely to look for out novel and curiously encounters to break the repetitiveness. This exploratory behavior is established in the brain's remunerate framework, which is enacted by unused and locks and jolts. By pushing people to investigate their environment and attempt modern things, boredom can lead to the revelation of unused interests, abilities, and openings. This exploratory drive is especially apparent in children, who frequently lock in creative play and inventive exercises to lighten boredom. In any case, it is to show in grown-ups, who may take up modern side interests, travel to unused places, or seek after unused career ways in reaction to boredom. Boredom, moreover, plays a noteworthy part in goal setting and accomplishment. When people encounter boredom, they are spurred to set unused objectives and challenges for themselves to make a sense of reason and course. This goal-oriented behavior can lead to individual development and advancement, as people endeavor to accomplish modern breakthroughs and overcome impediments. For illustration, a person who is bored with their current work may set an objective to learn modern aptitudes or seek after a distinctive career way. Essentially, somebody who is bored with their day-by-day schedule may set an objective to lock in more physical action, learn a modern dialect, or volunteer for a cause they are energetic approximately. By driving people to set and seek after modern objectives, boredom can lead to a more prominent sense of fulfillment and accomplishment. The motivational angle of boredom is moreover closely connected to imagination and advancement. When people are bored, they are more likely to lock in inventive considering and problem solving to discover modern ways to lighten their boredom. This inventive drive can lead to the improvement of unused thoughts, items, and arrangements that might not have been considered something else. For occasion, numerous imaginative and logical breakthroughs have been ascribed to periods of boredom, where people had the time and mental space to think profoundly and investigate modern conceivable outcomes. By pushing people to think exterior the box and investigate unused thoughts, boredom can serve as a capable catalyst for imagination and innovation. In expansion to cultivating interest, goal setting, and imagination, boredom can too spur people to look for out social associations and construct connections. When individuals are bored, they regularly seek for ways to lock in with others and share encounters. This social drive can lead to the arrangement of modern companionships, the fortifying of existing connections, and the improvement of a sense of community and having a place. For case, a person who is bored may connect a social club, go to community occasions, or reach out to companions and family to lighten their boredom. By propelling people to look for out social intuitive, boredom can contribute to a more prominent sense of social connectedness and well-being. From a broader societal point of view, boredom can too drive collective activity and social alter. When bunches of people encounter boredom and disappointment with the status quo, they may be propelled to come together and advocate for alter. This collective drive for modern encounters and challenges can lead to social developments, political activism, and social advancements. For occasion, numerous social and political developments have been driven by a sense of boredom and dissatisfaction with existing frameworks and a crave for alter and advance. By spurring people to look for out unused and superior ways of living, boredom can play a critical part in driving social and social evolution. Despite its motivational benefits, it is critical to recognize that boredom can moreover have negative results if not overseen successfully. When people are incapable to discover useful ways to ease their boredom, they may resort to maladaptive behaviors, such as substance mishandle, careless driving, or other hazardous exercises. These behaviors can have genuine suggestions for an individual's well-being, as well as for society as an entirety. In this manner, it is vital to discover sound and profitable ways to oversee boredom and tackle its motivational potential. Interventions to address boredom from a motivational viewpoint frequently center on making a difference. People discover significant and locks in exercises that adjust with their interface and values. This can include investigating modern side interests, setting individual objectives, and looking for out openings for learning and development. Cognitive behavioral strategies can too be utilized to offer assistance. People reframe their discernments of boredom and create methodologies for finding fulfillment in their day-by-day lives. For case, mindfulness hones can offer assistance. People ended up more mindful of their feelings and discover bliss and meaning in the display minute, diminishing the probability of encountering boredom. In instructive settings, tending to the motivational perspectives of boredom is vital for advancing understudy engagement and accomplishment. Instructors can make invigorating and energetic learning situations by consolidating assorted guidelines strategies, giving openings for dynamic and experiential learning, and cultivating a sense of independence and reason in understudies. By making a difference, understudies discover meaning and pertinence in their thinks about. Teachers can diminish boredom and persuade understudies to accomplish their full potential. In the work environment, bosses can upgrade work fulfillment and efficiency by advertising changed assignments, openings for proficient improvement, and a strong work culture. By recognizing and tending to the motivational effect of boredom, organizations can make more satisfying and locks in work situations, driving to made strides representative execution and well-being. Boredom is a complex enthusiastic state that can frequently be credited to a need of consideration or center. When people battle to concentrate on their current action, they are more likely to involvement sentiments of boredom. This relationship between consideration, center, and boredom is multifaceted, including different cognitive forms, natural variables, and person contrasts. Understanding this exchange can give profitable experiences into how boredom emerges and how it can be overseen or mitigated. At the heart of this association is the concept of consideration, a cognitive asset that permits people to specifically center on particular boosts whereas disregarding others. Consideration is a limited asset, and its assignment is affected by both inside and outside components. When consideration is not enough locked in or is misled, people can gotten to be withdrawn from their exercises, driving to boredom. This can happen for a few reasons. One essential reason boredom emerges from a need of consideration is that the errand at hand may not be adequately invigorating or locks in. If an action is as well straightforward or dull, it comes up short to capture and maintain an individual's consideration. This need of cognitive engagement leads to an excess of unused attentional assets, which can result in a sense of fretfulness and boredom. For illustration, monotonous errands, such as information section or schedule authoritative work, frequently fall flat to give the level of incitement required to keep up centered consideration, driving to boredom. Alternately, errands that are as well complex or challenging can moreover lead to boredom, though through a distinctive component. When a movement surpasses an individual's expertise level or cognitive capacity, it can cause disappointment and separation. The failure to viably center on the errand due to its trouble comes about in a need of important advance and an ensuing feeling of boredom. In this situation, the individual's consideration is overpowered or maybe then underutilized, driving to a breakdown in center and engagement. Environmental diversions are another critical calculate that can disturb consideration and lead to boredom. In our advanced, technology-driven world, people are always besieged with jolts from different sources, such as smartphones, social media, and foundation clamor. These diversions can part consideration, making it troublesome to keep up center on a single errand. When people are incapable to concentrate due to these outside intrusions, they are more likely to encounter boredom. This marvel is especially apparent in settings where center is basic, such as in classrooms or working environments, where the nearness of advanced gadgets can essentially block supported consideration and contribute to sentiments of boredom. Individual contrasts in attentional capacity and cognitive styles moreover play a pivotal part in the involvement of boredom. A few individuals have a normally higher edge for keeping up center and are way better able to concentrate on errands for amplified periods. Others may have a lower limit for diversion and require more visit changes in movement to remain locked in. These person contrasts can be impacted by different variables, counting identity characteristics, cognitive capacities, and indeed hereditary inclinations. For occasion, people with consideration shortage hyperactivity clutter, ADHD, regularly battle with keeping up center and are more inclined to encountering boredom as a result. The relationship between consideration, center, and boredom can too be caught on through the focal point of the stream state, as portrayed by clinician Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Stream is a state of profound inundation and ideal engagement in a movement, where people lose track of time and are completely retained in their assignment. Accomplishing a stream state requires a just between the challenge of the assignment and the individual's aptitude level, as well as a clear set of objectives and quick input. When these conditions are met, consideration is actually centered, and boredom is improbable to happen. In any case, when there is a mismatch, when the assignment is as well simple or as well troublesome, or when objectives and criticism are unclear, attention winds down, and boredom sets in. The worldly viewpoint of consideration too plays a part in boredom. Human consideration is not inactive, it vacillates over time. Periods of tall center and engagement can be taken after by plunges in consideration, amid which boredom is more likely to emerge. This characteristic recede and stream of consideration implies that indeed intrinsically curiously errands can gotten to be boring if supported for as well long without breaks or variety. Understanding this transient energetic can offer assistance people structure their exercises in a way that maximizes center and minimizes boredom, such as by consolidating customary breaks, shifting errands, and setting short-term objectives to keep up engagement. From a down-to-earth angle, tending to boredom through the focal point of consideration and center includes a few procedures. One viable approach is to upgrade the natural intrigue and challenge of errands. This can be accomplished by setting clear objectives, breaking errands into littler, reasonable parts, and finding ways to infuse assortment and oddity into schedule exercises. For occasion, in instructive settings, instructors can plan lessons that are intuitively unchanged, giving understudies with openings for hands-on learning and problem-solving. In the work environment, supervisors can relegate errands that adjust with employees' interface and qualities, offer openings for expertise improvement, and make an energetic work environment that minimizes monotony. Mindfulness and cognitive behavioral methods can too be profitable in overseeing consideration and diminishing boredom. Mindfulness hones, such as reflection and centered breathing works out, can offer assistance people create more noteworthy mindfulness and control over their attentional assets. By preparing the intellect to remain show and locked in, mindfulness can diminish defenselessness to boredom and improve by and large cognitive execution. Cognitive behavioral methodologies, such as cognitive rebuilding, can offer assistance people reframe their discernments of assignments and discover meaning and intrigue in exercises that might something else be seen as boring. In expansion to these person techniques, natural alterations can too play a significant part in supporting maintained consideration and decreasing boredom. Making a distraction-free environment, with negligible intrusions and clear boundaries between work and relaxation, can offer assistance people keep up center on their assignments. Ergonomic contemplations, such as comfortable seating and suitable lighting, can moreover upgrade concentration and diminish the probability of boredom. In instructive and working environment settings, planning spaces that advance center and engagement, such as calm think-about ranges and collaborative workspaces, can contribute to a more invigorating and profitable environment. The part of innovation in consideration and boredom is a double-edged sword. Whereas computerized instruments and assets can give profitable back for learning and efficiency, they can moreover be noteworthy sources of diversion. Overseeing the utilize of innovation to back or maybe then ruin consideration includes setting clear boundaries and rules, such as assigned times for checking emails and social media, utilizing apps and apparatuses that square diverting websites, and making tech-free zones or periods amid the day. Boredom, regularly rejected as an unimportant and transitory feeling, carries significant suggestions for people and society at huge. It is not just a passing feeling of eagerness or disappointment but or maybe a complex mental state molded by a horde of social and natural components. This paper dives into the multifaceted nature of boredom, investigating its causes, results, and potential cures inside the system of social and natural contexts. At its center, boredom shows as a subjective involvement of disappointment with one's current circumstance, frequently characterized by a need of intrigue, incitement, or engagement. Whereas it is an all-inclusive human encounter, the triggers and force of boredom can shift broadly over people and circumstances. Understanding the basic components that contribute to boredom is pivotal for getting a handle on its inescapable effect on mental well-being, efficiency, and by and large quality of life. One of the essential drivers of boredom lies in the environment in which people discover themselves. Repetitive and dreary situations, such as dull working environments or unsatisfying classrooms, can essentially increment vulnerability to boredom. The consistency and need of oddity in such settings come up short to capture and support individuals' intrigued and engagement, in this manner cultivating sentiments of boredom and disinterest. Moreover, the nature of assignments and exercises people lock in plays an urgent part in their vulnerability to boredom. Errands that are excessively basic or excessively complex relative to one's abilities and capacities can lead to boredom. When errands are as well simple, people may feel unchallenged and understimulated, while too much troublesome assignments may overpower and disappoint them. Hence, accomplishing an ideal level of challenge and complexity is significant in keeping up engagement and anticipating boredom. Beyond natural variables, social interactions, or the need thereof, also essentially impact the involvement of boredom. Human creatures are intrinsically social animals, wired to look for association, interaction, and significant connections with others. Social confinement, forlornness, and a need of fortifying social intelligence can compound sentiments of boredom. Alternately, locks in social situations that cultivate important associations and intelligence can moderate boredom by giving enthusiastic back, mental incitement, and a sense of belonging. The computerized age has presented and used measurements to the talk on boredom, with innovation playing a double part as both a source of excitement and a potential catalyst for boredom. Whereas advanced gadgets offer phenomenal get-to data, excitement, and social systems, they moreover contribute to abbreviated consideration ranges and expanded helplessness to boredom. The steady torrent of notices, social media upgrades, and online substance can lead to a dumbfounding state of overstimulation and boredom, where people battle to discover important engagement in the midst of the computerized noise. Furthermore, the COVID-19 widespread and its related lockdowns have brought into sharp center the effect of natural and social disturbances on boredom. Isolate measures, farther work courses of action, and physical removing conventions have restricted individuals to changed situations, social intuitive, and recreational exercises. As a result, numerous individuals have experienced increased levels of boredom, stemming from the dullness of domestic restriction and the non-attendance of in-person social connections. The results of incessant boredom expand distant past fleeting distress, posturing critical challenges to mental well-being, cognitive working, and generally well-being. Drawn-out introduction to boredom has been connected to expanded levels of push, uneasiness, and sadness, as people hook with sentiments of purposelessness and frustration. Additionally, boredom can impede cognitive execution, lessen imagination, and prevent inspiration, subsequently undermining efficiency and accomplishment in scholastic, proficient, and individual spheres. From a formative viewpoint, boredom plays an essential part in forming individuals' personality arrangement and mental development. Teenagers, in specific, frequently encounter boredom as they explore the move from childhood to adulthood, hooking with questions of personality, reason, and future goals. The way in which they adapt with and react to boredom can impact their flexibility, and capacity to seek after important objectives in life. In tending to the unavoidable issue of boredom, mediations pointed at both person and systemic levels are basic. At the person level, developing mindfulness and self-awareness can engage people to recognize and control their passionate reactions to boredom. Hones such as reflection, journaling, and locks in pastimes or imaginative interests can cultivate a sense of reason and fulfillment, moderating the onset of boredom. Education frameworks moreover play a significant part in forming situations that advance engagement and mental interest among learners. Consolidating intelligently instructing strategies, project-based learning, and openings for understudy independence can improve inherent inspiration and diminish boredom in instructive settings. Moreover, work environments can advantage from cultivating a culture of advancement, adaptability, and social network to combat dullness and advance worker engagement. Moreover, advancing social connectedness and community strength is vital in tending to the social determinants of boredom. Reinforcing social bolster systems, cultivating comprehensive community spaces, and advancing civic engagement can develop a sense of having a place and collective reason, subsequently lessening sentiments of confinement and boredom. From an approach point of view, supporting for urban arranging and plan that prioritizes availability to green spaces, social civilities, and recreational offices can improve community well-being and quality of life. Making dynamic and comprehensive open spaces empowers social interaction, physical movement, and social enhancement, subsequently moderating the dullness of urban living and cultivating a sense of community belonging. In conclusion, boredom is a multifaceted mental state impacted by person characteristics, cognitive forms, and natural components. It emerges from a seen need of incitement or important engagement with one's environment and can have critical suggestions for mental well-being, efficiency, and individual fulfillment. Understanding boredom includes recognizing its assorted appearances and the complex exchange of components that contribute to its onset. From identity characteristics and cognitive styles to natural boosts and societal standards, different components shape how people involvement and react to boredom. Addressing boredom requires an all-encompassing approach that incorporates cultivating situations conducive to engagement and inventiveness, advancing versatile adapting methodologies at person levels, and executing systemic changes in instructive, work environment, and community settings. By upgrading our understanding of boredom and its fundamental components, we can create more successful intercessions to relieve its negative effect and develop a sense of reason and fulfillment in individuals' lives.